So I want to go ahead and introduce our next speaker. I had the pleasure of hearing her speak at TED Women earlier this year, and I'm thrilled she can join us here at Prescription for Progress. So Priti Krishtel is co-executive director and co-founder of I-MAK, which is an organization of lawyers, scientists, and health experts that has worked in nearly 50 countries to evolve the patent system to better serve the public. So it perfectly builds on our discussion of reaching the last mile. She's joining us today to give an adapted version of her newly launched TED Talk, which you can find online. I think over 1 million views now and counting. She's going to be talking about democratizing the patent system to increase access to affordable medicines globally, including in the markets we've been focused on today. Priti.
Growing up as the daughter of a pharmaceutical scientist had its moments. When I was 9, my dad called and said he was bringing home a surprise. At that age, I was a fan of many things. The movie Top Gun, especially Goose, popping coins on Mario Brothers video games, and any mystery novel by Agatha Christie. So when Dad pulled into the driveway, I raced outside, and he walked around to the trunk and he pulled out my surprise. It was a floor-to-ceiling, wall-to-wall laminated poster of the periodic table of elements. I had that poster on my wall until I graduated from college. That poster sums up my childhood. In our house, instead of family photos, we had Dad's drug patents proudly displayed on the wall. America had given my father the opportunity to succeed as an inventor, and those patents came to symbolize a recognition of a lifetime of work. And in a very tangible way, they gave me my opportunity and my education. In the early 2000s, I moved to India, I ran a legal aid clinic, and my clients couldn't afford medicines. So I started to investigate why. I found an answer in an unexpected place, the patent system that I had held in high regard. The system was allowing companies to stack up patents around a medicine, creating a patent wall, blocking competition, holding prices artificially high, and keeping medicines out of the reach of many people who needed them. It was like building a stadium, but then the ticket prices were so high that everyday fans couldn't get in. Now, today, patent walls are a commonly accepted business practice. So I want to be very clear that this is not about blaming drug companies. What I'm talking about today is a pattern of behavior that our current economic system actually incentivizes. Companies have to deliver results for their investors, but the patent system has become a pawn used to drive those returns. And this is a global problem. 2 billion people lack access, drug costs are soaring, and our patent system is a part of the problem because we are exporting it through trade agreements all over the world. Now, America's founders originally established the patent system with an intention to motivate people to invent by giving them a time-limited monopoly. But today the system is so outdated and fraught with loopholes that it's not working for the purpose it was intended. My organization recently conducted an investigation on the 12 best-selling drugs in America. We found that on average, there are 125 patents filed on each medicine, often for things we've known how to do for decades, like change the dosage form of a drug. The higher a patent wall a company builds, the longer they hold on to their monopoly. And with no one to compete with, they set prices at whim. Because these are medicines and not luxury cars, we have no choice but to pay. The patent wall is a strategy to block competition, not for the 14 years originally envisioned by America's founders, or the 20 years allowed by law today, but for 40 years or more. Meanwhile, prices on these medicines increased at a rate that was 7 times the rate of inflation. 34 million Americans lost a loved one in the last 5 years because they couldn't afford medicines. 34 million Americans. There is powerful possibility in this moment. If we can look at what's broken about our system, we can change it and make life better for all Americans. And in doing so, we can change what we ask from low and middle income countries in our trade agreements and better the lives of people everywhere. And to do that, we need 5 reforms. First, we need to stop handing out so many patents. It took 155 years for the US patent system to issue its first 5 million patents. It took just 27 years for it to issue the next 5 million. We haven't gotten drastically more inventive. In fact, the vast majority of medicines associated with new drug patents are not new. Nearly 8 out of 10 are for existing ones, like insulin or aspirin. Now consider countries like Argentina or India who have tried to raise the bar for what is worthy of a patent. In these countries, people directly impacted by the high cost of drugs have sat face to face with government patent examiners and talked with them about the impact of patent walls on their lives. Over time, these simple yet extraordinary conversations humanized patents and resulted in more people getting the drugs that they needed. Imagine if this kind of respectful, productive dialogue could happen at scale. Second, we need to change the financial incentives of the patent system. Right now, the revenue of the Patent Office is directly linked to the number of patents that it grants. That's like private prisons getting paid more to hold more people. It naturally leads to more incarceration, not less. The same is true for patents. Third, we need more public participation. Right now, the US Patent Office acts like its primary client is the industry. But the purpose of a patent office is to serve and represent the public, yet we get little to no information. The office right now is more of a black box than a public agency. But it doesn't have to be this way. In countries like Brazil, Thailand, Ukraine, and South Africa, community organizers and movement lawyers have worked wherever possible with government to make sure that drug patent information is freely accessible. And this, in turn, has helped global health institutions make more informed decisions about treatment scale-up. We need to make sure that in every country, the patent system is serving the public first. Fourth, we need the right to go to court. Right now, in most countries, the public, after a patent is granted, has no legal standing to go to court. Only those with a commercial interest, other drug companies, have that right. But I've witnessed firsthand the transformation that is possible when everyday citizens can go to court. In 2015, my organization worked with donors, humanitarian organizations, and patient advocates to coordinate a multi-country effort in middle-income countries to challenge unjust patents on hepatitis C to ensure that medicines would reach the people who needed them. We won and enabled over $50 billion in future potential cost savings. Now, cases like these can save millions of lives, but they are hugely expensive and out of reach for ordinary people in most countries. It's time to abolish the pay-to-play system for accessing justice. And lastly, we need stronger oversight. We need an independent unit that can serve as a public advocate in most countries, regularly monitoring the activities of the Patent Office. If a unit like this had existed in the United States, it would have caught the Silicon Valley company Theranos before it got so many patents for blood testing and landed that valuation of $9 billion, when in reality, there was no invention there at all. This type of accountability is going to become increasingly urgent. In the age of 23andMe, important decisions are being taken right now about whether companies can patent and sell our genetic information and our patient data. We need to be part of those conversations before it's too late. Our information is being used to create the new therapies. And when that moment of diagnosis comes for me and my family, and you and yours, are we going to have to crowdfund to save the lives of those we love? That's not the world I want to live in, and it's not the world I want for my 2-year-old son. My dad is growing older now, and he is still as quietly brilliant and morally directed as ever. People ask us whether things get heated between us, the patent-holding scientist and his patent-reforming lawyer daughter. It's such a profound misunderstanding of what's at stake, because this is not about scientists versus activists or invention versus protection. This is about people, our quest to invent and our right to live. My father and I understand that our ingenuity and our dignity go hand in hand. We are on the same side. It is time to reimagine a patent system that reflects that knowing. Thank you.